Welcome back to the channel for another video on our 22 WRX. This is finally the week that we get our oil cooler installed, so let's just jump right over to the bench. I'll show you what brand we got, and I'll tell you why we picked it, and then we'll get it installed. Let's go. All right, jumping right into it. This is our Tomioka Racing oil cooler kit. Now, there's a few reasons why I picked this one. I did like how it is mounted up front. That is one of the reasons why we got the hood scoop delete from Varus to help promote more airflow up front. But the Tomioka Racing oil cooler, this kit is just really thought out and high quality parts. Everything is set trab basically. So we have set trab fittings. We have, this is the Hyperflow set trab thermostatic plate. Also a set trab adapter. It has 2 ports on it, so we could add sensors in the future. And then it even has like just basic instructions to install the oil filter on the car. They also have some instructions online to get this installed. So everything on here is basically set trab, including our oil cooler right here. So top of the line, high quality parts. Obviously has some brackets and some hardware so we can get it mounted. But I'm really excited to get this installed. With all the parts that we have on this car, it really needs an oil cooler. When we're cruising on the highway, temps can get 225, 230. And just talking to other WRX owners, their temps are probably about 10 to 15 degrees lower when cruising on the highway. So let's get this install started. We're going to get the bumper taken off. To take the bumper off is basically the same on this car, but we do have some different hardware up top here, but everything down low is the same. But I'll get you guys set up. We'll get our bumper taken off. We'll kind of mock up where the oil cooler goes. Now I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see these brackets behind the bumper. If they are visible, I kind of want to spray them black. But let's get the bumper taken off. Let's take a better look at where everything's going to go and where the hoses are going to route, and we'll go from there. But let me get you guys set up. We'll get this bumper taken off. Let's go. So to get you caught up, we disassembled it enough so we could get the intercooler pulled out and we can slide the oil cooler in. So it was just test fitting, just so we don't take too many things apart, but it fits basically perfectly. With one hand I can't do it, but it fits perfectly back there. So on the instructions, they do have these brackets here and the hardware. So we're gonna get these mounted up to the top here. And they do, let's look at the picture real quick. All right, so just referencing the pictures online. So our 90-degree orb fitting, that's gonna go on our left side, and our straight hose is going to connect to that. And then our straight fitting is going on the right side, and our 90-degree fitting will connect to that. So I was just looking through my package that I got and the instructions on there, and it looks like we are missing 2 fittings right here. So we actually need 2 more of these. so we can connect these oil lines to our thermostatic plate. So I just sent them an email. It's New Year's Day, so they'll probably get back to me tomorrow sometime. Hopefully we can get that overnighted over to us, because obviously the car is taken apart, but I'm still going to get the oil cool and everything mounted and the lines routed. And then maybe in like a few days, once that part comes in, we will continue and we'll get this portion done up here. But it'll be all done in this video for you guys, but it'll take a couple extra days for me to get this installed. But so just looking where we can mount it, obviously this fits back there perfect. So let's get these brackets put on. We also need to we'll prep the plate today. So they do have these plugs right here, and those plugs go in the front there. So in these instructions here, there's two ways to seal those off. So you can use PTFE, which is this tape right here. It says do 2 wraps clockwise, no more than that, and then you can tighten it on. You can also use, got over here, some thread sealant as well. So you can use either one. I like using the tape. I don't know, just preference-wise. I've always used the tape. I always have good luck with the tape. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll get all of this prepped, and I'll catch up with you guys once we get everything prepped before we get the oil cool mounted, and we'll go from there. Let's go. So to catch you guys up on what we just did, we got our brackets mounted on. The 90-degree bracket goes on this left side here. So 2 bolts there, and then the one here. 90-degree orb fitting on that side, straight here. And then the weird looking one goes up and over. So I just roughly mounted it up behind here. Like I said, it's tough to do it with one hand, but basically this on the left side is going to go on that stud there, so it kind of just like hangs there, and then the last bolt that they supplied, this one right here, will hold it onto the car. So I am actually just going to wait until I have the 2 extra fittings here to get everything else mounted. Oh, and I got these put on as well. So yeah, once these 2 come in, which will be in just a few seconds for you guys, we'll continue on with this install. But other than that, we got our little O-rings on both sides. We got both our plugs in. We have our spare plug here. This is all we have left from our kit. So this is what will mount this to the car. And then, yeah, the oil filter will screw onto here. But yeah, let's get this mounted up. It'll be a few days for me, but it'll be right now for you guys. Let's go. All right, now fast forward a few days later. It is now Monday of the following week. So they actually got back to me next day, less than 12 hours. They had a package sent out to me. So these 2 fittings are going to be arriving today. That's why we're back in the garage working. So I was trying to get it prepped, just trying to get everything mocked up. I ended up just taking off the intercooler here. And I wanted to show this before I just started cutting and drilling. But so on, let me put this bracket right here. You can already see I have stuff drawn up. But so I have this just roughly mounted there. It's supposed to go in that hole right there. So I'll get you guys set up right here, and I'll show you the issue that we're having. But there we go. So we have our bracket here. So if we put this up and then slide the bracket where like the bolt holes are supposed to go, I mean, we have a huge space. And you can see on this left side here, if I move my arm, the bracket is basically flush with the oil cooler. And the way that this is set up here, I mean, there's a gap here, and that's basically the gap that we have between the frame or the radiator support and our bracket. Now, you could just put a couple spaces on and have it mounted there, but the problem with our setup is that we have a front mount here, so we don't have room to push this out. So what I ended up doing was just marking new holes, and then this is just a line to cut it flat. So we are going to have to drill new holes for this bracket to make it fit. And the reason why you have to cut this back piece off, because it actually hits your AC condenser. So this does need to get trimmed to make it a little bit shorter. And then we have these 2 holes that we have to drill here. So we're going to get these holes drilled, and we'll try to get this oil cooler mounted. Once the new fittings come in, we'll be able to route the line to get everything else finished up. But let's get this drilled and let's get this oil cooler mocked up. Let's go. All right, so I got it roughly mounted up. It's still not bolted to the bottom part, but I have the one bolt in here, and if you can see down there, you can see, yep, you can see my finger. So the holes that we drilled are perfect with it mounted here. Now this is exactly how it should be mounted. I'm not sure what happened with this bracket that they sent me, but we did have to modify a little bit, cut it and drill it. It's not touching, I mean, maybe it's barely touching the back. So I'm going to probably take this off, trim the back a little bit, since I know the bolt holes are good. We can trim the excess in the back because it might be touching our AC condenser there. And then we'll get this permanently mounted, and we'll start routing the hoses. Now, I just briefly looked at the hoses. I think they're just going to route through here on the side. You see there's a little bit of an opening. So we're going to try to fish these hoses through, and we'll get them up to here. We're still waiting on the 2 fittings that go up here for the lines to connect. So once those come in later on today, we will put that on. But great progress now that we have this fully mounted up. I definitely needed to take that front mount off just so I can get a better look at all this. So yeah, let's get this taken off. I'm going to get this trimmed in the back a little bit, and we'll get these lines routed. Let's go. All right, so we have our oil cooler mounted now. So we have this bolt up here, which we will have to take out again just to get the front mount mounted up. That one is tight, and you can see how the hose are routed. They go down and then they go through, and then we just have them poking out. Whoop, we just have them poking out down here right now. The flashlight, you can kind of see where it's coming from, but we're still waiting for the last 2 fittings to come in so we can finish this up, but this is basically how I have it right now. Now there is room to move them up or down. As you can see, they're just moving right there. So we do have some play there. So once we get everything mounted up here, it should be able to reach perfectly fine. Now, I don't think it matters which way it goes, like right or left, like if this is like a one-way, but I'm pretty sure it just doesn't matter. As long as there's pressure, it's going to go through and we're going to be fine. But we're still waiting on the last two fittings to come before we get just everything buttoned up. But this is our current stitch that we're in. Here's the bracket that I cut. So I cut that off because on the back side here, it was touching once you had this mounted up. So now everything is perfect and flat. I did put a level on there. Everything is leveled. Everything is perfect. So we're just waiting on these last two fittings to come in and we can get this install wrapped up. So I'll catch up with you guys in just a second. For you guys, for me, maybe, I don't know, a couple hours. They should come today. Let's go. All right, and our last piece of the puzzle just came in. So I already got the two mounted, and I used our new adjustable AN wrench. Now this is an Evil Energy wrench. I did get this off Amazon. So I will put a link of this in the description below if you guys wanted to pick up an adjustable AN wrench. I kind of recommend this over the IAG set that I have. I got a set of AN wrenches here, some more up here that I've been kind of just going back and forth between what I want to use. But I mean, these are nice because they're just super high quality. The adjustable one is just maybe slightly better just because, I mean, you have everything. And the reason why I needed to order this is because that set didn't have the correct size that I needed. But we got everything in now. The last thing that we need to do is take off the oil filter and we'll get everything mounted up. We'll get everything stacked with the sandwich plate and the adapters here. Now I did highlight here, this is what the fittings have to be tightened to, so 40 Newton meters or 29.5 foot-pounds of torque. So we will get these torqued down correctly, make sure we have no leaks. But other than that, let's get this finished up. We'll get the oil filter taken off. We'll start stacking the new stuff on. We actually leave the factory oil cooler on, and then we'll get these hooked up. Let's go. So everything is fully mounted and tightened up. So see the hoses kind of go straight down. They angle back just a little bit and they come out through the bottom down here and then they just route up. So everything is all buttoned up as far as the oil cooler goes. Now this did add 0.3 quarts to the overall system. So it is still safe enough to start, of course. So I am just going to get the front mount mocked up and then we're going to crank the car over a few times. If you guys don't know how to do that, to build oil pressure, you can hold the gas pedal all the way down and then try to start the car, and the car's just going to turn over. It's not going to start as long as your foot is all the way to the floor. So we're gonna do that, make sure there's no leaks or anything, and then we'll get it started with just the front mount, just mocked up, and then of course we'll have to tighten everything up. We'll have to put our brace back on. I got the brace over here, front mount, and then the crash bar. We'll put everything back on in that order, but I want to make sure there's no leaks before I get everything put back on, because then I'll have to take everything back off again. So yeah, let's get our first start in and we'll go from there. Let's go. just like that, everything's put back together like nothing ever happened with our added oil cooler. So I did just check the oil because we did start it and then I did have it idle for a little bit. It got up to 180 degrees. So it got up to operating temp. The thermostat opens up at 180 on the oil cooler. So I did check the oil and we were a little bit low. So I did just top it off. The kit said it's a 0.3. It adds to the oil capacity. So I add a little bit of oil. We're good on the dipstick now. But let me turn you guys around. I'll show you how everything looks. And this is our fully finished product here. You can see our oil cooler right here. It is kind of double stacked with our factory cooler. Then we have the Cetrab sandwich adapter. And then we have the Hyperflow. And then the lines that go down and through the radiator support. There is an opening there. You didn't have to cut like some other oil cools that are out there. One of the other brands out there wants you to cut through the side to have the lines go through. But there is room for them to pass through there. And I do have a CSF radiator. So I was a little worried that it was going to be like too big or something was going to go wrong as far as fitment. But it actually just fit pretty well. Obviously, it was a tight fit, but you could just snake them through with your hands, basically. Got everything tight with our new AN wrench. So I did get this from Amazon. It's just an Evil Energy. I will link this below. But I did use this to tighten up all of our fittings. But that's all that we got for this one. Oil cooler is fully installed. Now with this oil cooler installed, our temps are going to stay more consistent so we can do more pulls if we are like on the highway or if we're just doing like a pull from a light here or there. It will keep our temps more consistent, make the engine safer. So that's all I got for you guys on this one. Until next week, see you guys.